All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Katie and Andrew's first ever Wheel of the Year open mic. And we're going to try to do this on the 8 days in the people who follow kind of an earth-based path. And also some of these line up with the liturgical year in Christianity as well. So this is the Candlemas, Imbolc, Brigid's Day. It's the halfway point between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. And we're gonna talk, maybe read some poetry. Are you gonna play your banjo?
I'm gonna play my banjo. I just realized that in my my semi-frantic setup process, I didn't tune her up yet. So I might mute at some point while you're sharing something and make sure she's all ready to go.
Right. So what I'll do is I'll take you offline. I'll move you back into the backstage room, and then while you're in the backstage room, you can tune your banjo. And I invited some other poets and people. They might hop on, they might not. But we're live right now on a few different Facebook channels. It doesn't look like anybody's watching right now, but maybe somebody will accidentally be doom scrolling, and they'll see your pretty face and my ugly face, and then they'll say I want to go.
Well,
I
I'm
want to go.
watching.
Right, we want it, and we'll have it for posterity. It'll be a YouTube as well, for posterity's sake. So, but let's tell everybody about the significance of this day. I don't remember this that well, but my mother claims that when I was really little, on the first day of February, I woke up and I said, February 1st is the best day of the year. It's the best month. And I think it was maybe because of Valentine's Day, or that I knew that by the end of February, spring would almost be here. But for you, I know this day holds a lot of significance. So maybe before we start sharing some of our poetry and song, why don't you tell us a little bit about the significance of this day for you?
Yeah. So I think kind of in my own journey, it's really I struggle when it comes to like labels and things. But I was thinking a little bit earlier today about what I would maybe mention, and I've gone on this path to kind of figure out like how to be a human, how to be a human in this ecosystem of Earth, um, and what that means. And it's really led me toward more earth-based spirituality ideology. And so, of course, before electricity and refrigerators and Walmart, this was a really important time of the year for our very agriculture-based societies, because they celebrate their harvest, they stock up for the winter and everything, just like squirrels. We're learning about squirrels right now in homeschool. They have to pack up everything for the winter and hope that it gets them through, and make sure that they're planning ahead for that. Um, Really, that the seeds that they've sown will carry them through this really difficult time. There's not a lot of food growing. You don't see a lot of animals. Everybody's hunkering down for the winter. So February 1st, when it comes around, it's in some places in the northern hemisphere, it's like that first breath of spring, and it really felt like that yesterday. What a perfect, like, February 1st was yesterday, and I was just so incredibly grateful. It was beautiful. But it's really kind of about hope. That the days are getting longer, and that I mean, to say in kind of layman's terms, like, garden season is starting. We're gonna have food again. And if you're looking at this kind of from the spiritual perspective, it's a great time to kind of reflect a little bit and really just think about the seeds that you want to sow in the coming year, and how you want to cultivate those things. So this day also, yesterday being Imbolc, which is a like a Celtic pagan type celebration, and then today being Saint Brigid's Day with the Catholic Church. This is a time that Brigid has been honored for like forever, for hundreds of years, by Celtic societies, and she's mostly associated with this time. A lot of people, kind of associate her with the like her bringing spring. And there's so much. I've been doing so much studying for like personally about Brigid, and also about bards and about the role that they played in Celtic society, and just kind of connecting dots for myself. And I'm sorry, I'm probably saying too much, but anyway, it's just I feel like I have a really strong connection with Brigid, the goddess, the saint specifically, and this is a favorite time of the year for me because I'm really into ideas, and just that first, like, that breath of fresh spring air and warmth coming again, and the cold leaving. I don't know. It's a really exciting time for me.
So yesterday was amazing and incredible. Today's kind of cloudy and rainy. It's not that cold, but tomorrow and it's going to turn really cold again. But we will have spring. Spring will get here. The wheel turns, and the days are going to keep getting longer. And that arc from winter solstice to summer solstice, we've reached an interval in that journey back toward the sun. And I definitely am a Beltane and summer solstice kind of guy. So I'm looking forward to, unfurling. But I also find that in this internal time, not just catching up on great shows like Station 11, which you need to watch because it fits everything that we're talking about post-apocalypse. But not only do I catch up on that, I do study and write and create and things of this nature. So I hope some other people hop on that want to perform, but we got at least one person watching us. So that's pretty exciting. And we're grateful that you're here. And so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and read a poem, and I'll take you off screen and go tune your banjo. And if anything, we're going to have a banjo and poetry performance by you and me. And hopefully maybe some of our friends will be able to hop on, but we'll do this again in March, and we'll schedule it. Right on time for the spring equinox. So I'm just going to put you in the backstage. Go tune up your banjo, and then and stay tuned into me, and then I'll bring you back up when you're ready. I'll be able to see you in the backstage. There's also a chat in the backstage, and you can communicate with me there. I'd love to bring you back on to play some banjo music for us. So hey everybody, I'm Sunfrog still, and Kati and I are doing a St. Brigid's Day open mic, Candlemas. It's also Groundhog's Day. I'm going to read a poem out of my pandemic poetry, Don't Touch Your Face. And during the early days of the pandemic, I was really reevaluating everything. And now that the pandemic has been normalized, and also the pandemic has been politicized, I kind of miss the sense of urgent reflection and reevaluation that I had there. Of course, it's tragic, all that we have lost from COVID-19. People and processes have been sacrificed, but I thoroughly enjoyed the privilege to look inward and to have an inward time during the way that we did. And it really forced me to ask hard questions and look at myself and see, these are some of the things that I wrote poems about. And you can get my book, by the way. This book is for sale in Cookeville at the Tiny Cloak on the Square. And tonight's open mic is co-sponsored by our friends at the Tiny Cloak. And we thank them for that. Maybe at the next one, the proprietor, Montana, will be able to come on the open mic and share with us. So I'm going to share this poem. All of my poems are untitled in Poems from a Pandemic. The world wakes up from the fever dream like this. What are my feelings? Who are my family? What is this world we are fighting to save anyway? Because the world in my dream was pretty delicious. Yet seeing all these preachers and teachers and nurses and neighbors just showing up for this thing puts a knot in my throat, because we can do this. Lord, loosen my lips for every poem, every sermon, every song, every illegal hug, every secret social distance handshake, every makeshift underground restaurant. Maybe we can reframe prohibition to distill the moonshine of hope, be bootleggers of love, old school outlaws of human potential, and internet prophets of unlimited grace. I'll go ahead and save one more of those. I'll read at the end. I'll read one more poem now, a semi-long poem. And I've got a couple more that I'll share later, but then I'm going to bring Kati up to do some banjo. Hopefully she will. One thing that people do in this time of year is they travel closer to the equator, and a lot of our folks and friends, they might go to Florida or to Mexico or to Texas or New Orleans or somewhere in the tropics. And here's a a poem by the late Nicaraguan poet Ernesto Cardenal, called "The Lost Cities," and this talks about places in the Mayan culture and some of the ruins down in Central America that of societies before before Columbus and before our time, people on this hemisphere of European descent. It's called The Lost Cities, and there's a few words that I don't know, and I'm just not gonna say them. But this is in a book called Apocalypse and Other Poems by Ernesto Cardenal. It's called The Lost Cities. At night, owls fly among the stellae, the wildcat snarls along the terraces, and the jaguar roars in towers. A stray coyote howls in the great square at the image of the moon and the lagoons, which in remote cartoons were fish ponds. Now the animals are real, which in the frescoes were once stylized, and princes now sell earthen jars in markets. But how can one inscribe the hieroglyph again? Again, paint jaguars and dethrone tyrants. Rebuild again our tropical acropolis, our rural capitals amid the fields. The jungle thickets full of monuments, altars, arches with bas reliefs among the buttressed roots. In jungle where it seems man never entered, where only the anteater and the tapir and the quetzal still garbed like a Maya go, there lies an entire city. When priests went up the temple of the jaguar with jaguar capes and fans of quetzal feathers, deerskin sandals, and ritual masks, shouting went up from the ball courts with drum beats and the scent of incense from the sacred chambers of the wood and the smoke of pine wood torches, while underneath there is another city, a millennium older. Today the monkeys howl on the trees. There are no names of generals on the stelae. In their temples and palaces and pyramids, and in their calendars and chronicles and codices, there is not one name of a leader or a chief or an emperor or a priest or a politician or commander of government. Nor did they record political events on monuments, nor administrations, nor dynasties, nor ruling families, nor political parties. In centuries, not one glyph recorded a person's name. The archaeologists still do not know how they were governed. Their language had no word for master, not a word for city wall. They did not wall their cities. Their cities were temples. They lived in the fields among the palm groves and the milpas and the papa trees. Their temple arch was modeled on their hut. Highways were only for processions. Religion was the only bond between them, but it was a religion freely accepted, imposing no burden, no oppression. Their priests had no power, and pyramids were built without forced labor. At its height, their civilization did not turn into an empire. They had no colonies, nor did they know the arrow. They knew Jesus as the God of the maize and gave him simple offerings of maize, birds, and feathers. They had no wars, nor knew the wheel, but they had calculated the synodic path of Venus. Every night they noted the rising of Venus on the horizon over some distant tree. As pairs of parrots flew homing to their nests, they had no metallurgy. Their tools were of stone. They never left the Stone Age, technologically speaking, but they computed precise dates going back for 400 million years. They had no applied science. They were not practical. Their progress lay in religion, mathematics, and art, astronomy. They had no means of weighing. They adored time, the mysterious affluction of time. Time was holy. Days were gods. The past and the future are intermingled in their songs. They used the same cartoons for past and future in the belief that time was reenacted like the motions of the heavenly bodies they observed. Yet the time which they adored abruptly ceased. Stellae remained unfinished, blocks half cut in quarries where they still lie. Only loose, lonely gum tappers traverse the Pettin today. Vampire bats nest in the stucco friezes. Wild pigs grunt in the avenues at nightfall. The jaguar wars in towers, root entangled. Far away in a distant square, a lone coyote bays at the moon, and the Pan American jet flies high above the pyramid. but will the past Katuns one day return? The Lost Cities by poet Ernesto Cardenal, now the late and gone, resting in peace and power, from his book Apocalypse and Other Poems. All right, Katie's going to play us some banjo, and the poetess is among us. And so, Aaron, you'll be on deck. But Katie, why don't you come on back on the screen and play your banjo for us?
Okay. Just so you know, there was a little chaos while you were reading your amazing poetry. I had to put my poodle outside. Can you hear her barking?
Yes, that's okay.
I'm hoping that will stop, but I don't know.
It's ambiance of life, really.
Yeah. Well, that's what's happening here. So, before I start, I just wanted to say that for a while now, I've been thinking it's would be such a beautiful, wonderful thing for to create some space for humans, for people to come together and kind of share in that sacred space of language arts, storytelling, poetry, song. Oh my gosh. Anyway, and I'm just really super grateful to you, Andrew, because when I had this idea and I was like, I feel really like I should really do this, he was just like, you were ready to go. And I really appreciate it because I'm so excited. So this is my banjo, and something that I've kind of been doing on my own. I just think it's really important to tell certain stories. So a lot of the songs that get stuck in my head that I want to play and I want to learn how to play are significant stories for different reasons. And this first one that I'm going to play, I don't even know if I can play the whole thing all the way through, but it's an important story that I want to tell. So it's called Salem Town by a bluegrass band called Backline from South Carolina. And here it goes. Andy, are you familiar with the story of Giles Corey?
No, I'm not.
No, Giles Corey.
Nope.
He was one of the people who was tried during the Salem witch trials, and obviously, like, unfoundedly. And he was the person. He and his wife were both tried, and he was the person who was tried to be stoned to death. And he would not admit to something that he didn't do, so he just kept telling them to add more weight, like just keep adding stones because I'm not gonna fold. So anyway, just an amazing. I don't even know how I know that, but when I heard the song, I just couldn't believe it. So anyway, all right, here it goes. This town's history, what an awful sight, will leave you restless in fear of the night. Her icy chill fills the air. A touch of a hand, was it really there? I grew up here, and I worked the land. Learned how to build these callous hands. They had me cut the timber down that lay the witches deep in the ground. Can you hear that distant moan, son? Can you hear that dreadful sound? On nights so cold and lonesome, see the gallows hanging down. Oh, beware that old Salem town. I watch them lead her through the town, unable to speak or make a sound. And I heard stairs creak on the way to the top, where she made the final drop. As I sit here in the cell, an angry fire within me dwells. I close my eyes and I Can you hear that distant moan song? Can you hear that dreadful sound? On the night so cold and lonesome, see the gallows hanging down. Oh, beware that old Salem town. Well, stack these stones up to the sky. I won't confess to a devil's lie. With my last breath, I'll see your face. So go on ahead, boys, add more weight. Can you hear the distant moan, son? Can you hear that dreadful sound? On the night so cold and lonesome, see the gallows hanging down. Oh, beware that old Salem town. And scene.
That was incredible. Thank you so much. That was really incredible. Are you do you want to take a break and then do another one in a little while, or do you want to do another one right now, or?
Sorry, Andy, my sound is so distorted for some reason. I don't know why. Hold on.
Do you wish to do another song right now, or do you want to do one a little bit later?
I might. Hold on just a second. I'm going to try to open the chat. No. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, you sound great. Oh, I think I put what I put in the chat. There's actually an internal chat. I just put it on the public wall. But we've got an audience now. We've got like 5 people watching. I'm going to bring Erin on, and we'll talk off screen. Erin, the poetess, is here, and I'm so grateful that you're here. And we look forward to whatever you're going to share with us. We've got a live audience now. It took a minute to get a few people online. Maybe they had to get home from work. So welcome everybody who's watching. And Katie, I hope you'll come back on and do a
Yeah, Katie and Andrew, Sunfrog, thank you for having me and inviting me to do this. I really appreciate it. I know it's a great surprise what I'm going to read. I was just thinking about it this morning. I wanted to share something that I had written since coming to Cookeville. A lot of my poems were written in various places because I feel like I've lived in a zillion states at this point. So I'm reading a poem that I've written recently, and it's an attempt to reckon with the brutality of the world, which is something I think about more and more. And I don't mean to be a drag, but but as I've been thinking about this, I've been located in the South. I've lived in the South for the last 10 years. In northern Florida, then in Arkansas, and now I am here. So anyway, so I moved to Cookeville most recently from Arkansas, and this poem is called Real Arkansas. And I'm only going to share one poem, but it means a lot to me. So thanks for listening. Real Arkansas. It's easy in the South not to get invited anywhere, hard as a dime to parse public niceties from the truer private kind, a barbecue where I can join the conversation. Not everyone is the same, bellowing to hang their senators, living and dying by the Hellenistic tragedy of SEC football, though some do. So I agree to a 4-year-old's birthday with my daughter, who, like most kids, beats her parent at making friends. Driving, I set my pilgrim sail to alien coordinates, geography whose stories I know are bad, race massacres, rebel graveyards, the tear-down plantation where the county was founded next door to my apartment, swimming pool and central air on land worked by 200 in bondage. Nobody ever tells you how stunning the canopy is. Breeze pulling a long, bright coat. The landscape a terrifying Eden. Why not serve hot dogs stacked in a giant bowl, like a disordered Lincoln log cabin? Rip our buns from grocery plastic. Eat on the couch surrounded by big dogs and babies as outside our kids jump on a trampoline. No reason except these people aren't mine. Thanks for coming, one lady says to me. You're punching down, I hear a poet friend whisper in our workshop 10 years ago. Where I come from isn't perfect, and some say it's notorious. A Yankee town hung with Confederate flags, full of Sackler creatures and cousins who spout off about a race war. You're punching down again, I tell myself. I need directions for that cardinal north where the Sunday lunch is good on its own rather than an off-ramp from my dossier of bullshit. More than that, it's been years since I talked to someone, I called a neighbor, said anything more than rugrat homilies or regurgitated the temperature forecast. Whatever the real Arkansas is, I've missed it. As I know to do, I talk to the women about our children, but not ever to their husbands, fork a dog into a bun and squeeze a line of ketchup into its abiding valley. Have I allowed myself to pass a cotton field on the highway, blanched tufts in bloom, and acknowledged the surface aesthetics before passing into the carnage beneath? Our kids pump the triggers on their impressive water guns as I compliment the tea for being sweet, the dogs for being big, the people for their kind invitation. Maybe it's all I can do to live in limbo and call out, not me, to no one listening, to nod at each, we're so glad you're here, that rolls over me like a blessing, unaware I had asked for it. Thank you.
Wow. My mouse hand couldn't find the button to bring me back on screen because I was just relishing your poem. Thank you so much. And this is a new, I've done other forms of online open mics since the pandemic began, but I think Katie and I have inaugurated, this is the debut and inauguration of a new, and so if we keep up with the eight days on the wheel of the year, we'll do the next one on around March 20th, 21st, 22nd, right in there. So we'll invite you again. If you don't know Erin Hoover, she's a assistant, is that the right word? Assistant professor of poetry at Tennessee Tech, and you can take, you don't have to be a full-time student. You can enroll as a special student, I believe, to take a class. So if you love poetry, we've got a great creative writing faculty at Tennessee Tech. Professor Hoover, Duckton, and Pelton running the creative writing program. So rah for creative writing here in my community. And thank you for bringing it off campus and online so others who aren't in your classes get to hear you as well. So thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll be teaching, I'll be teaching poetry in the fall again. If anyone is
so
interested.
Everybody keep an eye out. I do know people. I'm not speaking out of turn. I hope I do know people that have enrolled in the university just to take like one class, and so I believe that is permitted. There, I'm sure there's rules and regs that go with it. But anyway, thank you.
Can I give another quick plug?
Yeah, sure.
So I'm also the faculty advisor for the Iris Review, which is the student-run literary magazine at Tech. And we don't only publish students, we publish faculty and staff at Tech, and we also publish folks from the Cookeville community. So if that applies to you, if you're sitting in Cookeville right now and you're sitting on a poem or a story or an essay or some artwork, just go to, I think the address is it's a bit.ly, bit.ly/Iris Review. And you can go to our website and the submission guidelines are there. We're accepting submissions until February 28th.
And if y'all know me and you want to hit me up off when I'm not live casting, I know all the details. Iris Review is a wonderful publication, and it's a very professional, perfect bound journal. It's a legit journal, and you'll get your own copy. And they do so campus and community submissions, and they're open submissions. That means anybody can submit. So, and I believe they have an online presence as well, so you may be able to Google the Iris Review. Thank you, Erin. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for coming on. Katie, I hope you got your technology figured out. I'm going to read one more poem out of my collection here. of other poets that I wanted to bring today. I read one from my book, and then I'll bring you back on to do another banjo number. I picked up Kenneth Patchen, and this is a chant poem. I learned this style from Anne Waldman, and Allen Ginsberg is also famous for this. But this is where you use a repeat word. Katie, you probably remember writing chant poetry in my class. I'm big on these. Well, this is a chant poem by Patchen, who's a lesser-known American author, and I don't think I've ever read this one out loud. So it's called Poem of the Word, and this is anthologized in the collected love poems of Kenneth Patchen by Larry Smith. And I don't know what we're going to do when we lose Larry Smith. I think he is the Patchen scholar. There aren't many Patchen scholars in America, and he's out of Ohio, and he has his own press called the Bottom Dog Press. And so this is the love poems of Patchen, edited by Larry Smith, and the Poem of the Word. We are still not able to tame that fabulous kingdom of the word. For the word is, to put it plainly, unlettered. The word is not deed. The word is the way something floats which cannot be seen. The word is the call for the tribe from down under the water. The word is the thing the wind says to the dead. The word is the white candle at the foot of the throne. The word is the saying. The word is the echo of our dreaming. The word is the web we take from the womb. The word is the prayer of the unbeliever to his belief. The word is the sigh of an angel. The word is the horror of a woman getting old. The word is the voice of the unsayable. The word is the way the rain falls. The word is the way a bird flies. The word is the way the hair grows. The word is the way a child thinks. The word is a green face in a marble thicket. The word is an acrobat in the land of cripples. The word is food which can be eaten. The word is water which can be drunk. The word is a woman and can be possessed. The word is a bell which calls all men to church. The word is a knife which can be used to kill. The word is a house where all may find shelter. The word is the answer to the darkness. The word is the only enemy of murder. The word is the way the world was made. The word is the way all of us will die. The word is the soul's willing deed, and the world must realize where all these deaths are going. Poem of the Word. All right, a short one out of my book, and then Katie's going to come on and sing us another song. This is from the Pandemic Poems, Don't Touch Your Face. Temple of toilet paper, conclave of cookies, bunker of light, ashram of anxiety, monastery of melody, isolation at night. Shopping spree of solidarity, stress-eating equality, virtual dance parties all day. Ministry of internet, news channel of blues, memes of memory because you are the you that you were meant to be. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. They won't tell us what is on the other side of this door. Let's walk through. From Don't Touch Your Face, Poems of the Pandemic. You can buy a copy at the Tiny Cloak on the Square, which is our sponsor. We have a sponsor. Katie and I have a sponsor for this reading today. The Tiny Cloak. It's an amazing place. Go check it out. All right, Katie, I hope you figured out your technology and you're ready to sing us another song.
You know, I think I've been having weird problems with my phone all day, so it just freaked out and shut down. So hopefully, while I'm playing, my Wi-Fi will be okay. I'm like horrified that I missed Aaron's poem because I came back on and I just heard you say "wow," and I was like, I'm gonna have to immediately go back and listen to what I missed.
Well, anyway, like I said, and when later on tonight or whenever we're done, I'll grab the YouTube link, and that's the best one for posterity. The Facebook Live links tend to get buried, in the streams and in the archives of Facebook. But there will be a YouTube for posterity, which I'll share with both of you later today or tomorrow. All right, Katie, sing us a song.
Okay, so this is another one of those stories. I had actually never heard this story until I was in Dr. Michael E. Birdwell's class at Tennessee Tech, and I was maybe 22, So I had been an adult for several years. I'd been a human for 22-ish years, 23 maybe. And this is one of those stories that every person should know. And that's why I'm going to sing it. And the story is called Strange Fruit, originally sung by Billie Holiday. And it talks about the terrors of lynchings back in the 40s, 50s. And it's still something that is happening today. So it's unfortunately still very relevant. Yeah. So here it goes. Southern trees bear a strange fruit. Blood on the leaves and blood at the root. Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze. Strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. Pastoral scene of the gallant South. The bulging eyes and the twisted mouth. Scent of magnolia, sweet and fresh. Then the sudden smell of burning flesh. Here is a fruit for the crows to pluck, for the rain to gather, for the wind to suck, for the sun to rot, for the tree to drop. Here is a strange and bitter crop. That was a lot. That's a story that I think that everybody should know. I think there's one more song. Do we have time, Andy? I don't know how long we've been on for, but this one is has been on my heart lately too. Something that is super trending right now is Encanto, which is a movie whose music was largely written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, of whom I'm a huge fan. And it's about a Colombian family with a magical house, and it really does a fantastic job touching on intergenerational trauma. And there's a wonderful, of course, all the songs are wonderful, but at the very end, I'm gonna try not to cry. I'm already in an emotional state now, but there's a song called Dos Oruguitas, and it means two little caterpillars. And I want to translate the whole thing. I'm a Spanish teacher in my non-banjo time, but it's a song about two little caterpillars that fall in love. And they're spending all their time together, and the world is always changing. And so this time comes when they have to separate into their own, cocoons or chrysali, whatever. And they have to transform into whoever they're meant to be. And I feel like a lot of us have probably been in a point in our lives where we are sharing an emotional space with somebody, and we come to this moment where we begin to transform and evolve into different directions. And so this song just hits me every time. And it's on the banjo because it's fine. I might have to capo up for this one, actually. I cry every time I hear this song, and my son makes fun of me. He's 7. Dos oruguitas enamoradas pasan sus noches y madrugadas. Oops. Un momento. That's a hard one. Llenas de hambre, siguen andando y navegando un mundo que cambia y sigue cambiando. Navegando un mundo que cambia y sigue cambiando. Dos oruguitas paran el viento mientras se abrazan con sentimiento. Siguen creciendo, no saben cuándo buscar algún rincón. El tiempo sigue cambiando, inseparables son. El tiempo sigue cambiando. Ay, oruguitas, no se aguanten más. Hay que crecer, aparte y volver. Hacia adelante seguirás. Vienen milagros, vienen crisálidas. Hay que partir y construir su propio futuro. Ay, oruguitas, no se aguanten más. Hay que crecer, parte y volver. Hacia adelante seguirás. Vienen milagros, vienen crisálidas. Hay que partir y construir su propio futuro. Dos oruguitas desorientadas en dos capullos bien abrigadas, con sueños nuevos. Solo falta hacer lo necesario. El mundo que sigue cambiando, tumbando sus paredes. Ahí viene nuestro milagro, nuestro milagro. Ay, mariposas, no se aguanten más. Hay que crecer, parte y volver. Hacia adelante seguirás. Ya son milagros, rompiendo crisálidas. Hay que volar y encontrar, sí, su propio futuro. Ay, mariposas, no se aguanten más. Hay que crecer, parte y volver. Hacia adelante seguirás. Ay, ya son milagros, rompiendo crisálidas. Hay que volar, hay que encontrar su propio futuro.
So next time when the days are longer and I don't have a night class on the holiday, I will probably do this a little bit later for the people who work. But this was convenient for us because it allows us to get to dinner and get to our other responsibilities. And I know you've got kids and stuff like that. So, but we will, Kati and I will put our calendars together and we'll pick a time and a day for the spring equinox version of this. Somebody I know who celebrates this holiday that I haven't seen in a long time, Thugsy the Clown, was on the comment thread there. So I'm going to invite Thugsy to come and do something for us next time. I actually sent him a message to see if he wanted to hop on right now. And I don't think so spontaneously. So we'll try to get the word out at least a week in advance of the next one, and we'll invite all of our friends. And I want to thank you, Katie, for co-hosting with me, and Aaron for coming and reading a poem. I'll read one short poem out of my book here. Oh, I read both of my poems out of the book that I wanted to read. I think we're done. I think we're done. Let me see. Is that a candle behind you?
I think we did it.
Is that a candle sitting behind you, Katie, that I see?
My yeah. It's actually my whole like Brigid setup. I've got my cross here. It's my Brigid cross. That's something that we didn't do, is I didn't get to fangirl ask you about your trip to Ireland.
So, yeah, I'll say that briefly. So, and we have one that we got in Kildare. So I went to Ireland twice. We had decided that when we got married, we wanted to take our honeymoon in Ireland. And I think it took us two whole years before we got to go to our honeymoon in Ireland. And then I got invited back to give a paper in Belfast 4 years after that. So we went in 14 and then in 18.
Oh my
And
goodness.
after we had traveled all through Ireland in 14, I got home. I said, I never did go to Kildare. And so when we got back, we went to Dublin and we immediately hopped on a train. Now, first of all, to go to a train station in Ireland is a thing. Any of the European train stations are just a thing. I definitely felt like I was in a storybook, in the long platform, and you have to read your ticket and the signs and mind the gap. And finally we found our train, and we took just a day trip, rode the train to Kildare, walked all over the town of Kildare and saw all the Brigid stuff in the town of Kildare, and then hopped on the train and rode back to Dublin. It was absolutely astonishingly and a beautiful experience. So, and one thing that I mean, Celtic is not the only culture, but you and I talked about this offline when we were preparing for today. But I'm a person who follows a blended path, and my blended path has a lot of its roots in Ireland, where people have blend, the more earth-based religion with the Christian path. And Katie just disappeared and reappeared. I'm not sure what happened there.
Then I don't know what's happening.
You were there twice for a second. Well, anyway, I think that's technology, and we're almost at an hour. So I think that's technology saying it's time to bid. So merry meet, merry part, may we meet again, whatever. Light a candle, say a prayer. Wish everybody that we'll have a smooth transition out of the dark of winter and into the light of spring. And the next time we gather, we'll be on the first day of spring. And the year will tilt to where we'll have more daylight than darkness in the northern hemisphere for an entire half a year. I can't wait for the light half of the year. So
I'm not a huge fan of like the strength. I feel like summer is such a strong time, and I'm a little like but it's such an exciting time to kind of rejoice in that spring equinox, Easter, pastel colors, like fertility, all the flowers are blooming. Like, it's just such an exciting time. So that'll be a fun one.
We'll see you then. And thank you for doing this. And thanks to Aaron for joining us. So we at least had one star guest for today. Anyway, we'll sign off for now. Thank you all so much for attending.
Thank you, Andrew.